Welcome to the Passionate Roaditor, TPR, where we stay on the road to keep you safe on the road. Along the busy Thika Highway, this dump truck, registration number KCC 391G, stalled at the uphill stretch just before the Roasters underpass. This happened during the evening rush hour. You would think that the driver would place a lifesaver triangle some distance at the rear of the truck to warn other motorists of the danger ahead. TPR saw this, what looked like a yellow helmet placed on the highway just a few meters behind the dump truck. TPR believes it was put there to warn other motorists of the stalled lorry ahead, even though it is abundantly clear that drivers could get confused by such an object on the road behind a truck. Here is the interesting yet depressing part. For less than 1,000 Kenya shillings, the owner of the lorry can invest in a pair of lifesaver triangles so that the driver can use them in a scenario such as this one. But it seems that is too much to ask for a lorry that likely rakes in tens of thousands of shillings per day and maybe hundreds of thousands in some instances. The police officer seeking to help out here, while rightfully focusing on securing a breakdown lorry to tow the stalled truck, does not seem to have any concerns on whether a lifesaver triangle has been placed at the rear. The end result of this is that whenever vehicles stall on Kenyan roads, drivers easily get away with failure to put a lifesaver triangle to warn other motorists of the hazard. Unfortunately, that behavior has real-life consequences, which involve the loss of lives. Take the case of the accident that happened in April this year of a Suzuki that rammed into a stationary trailer along the northern bypass near the Membley Bridge. 4 lives were lost on the spot. It was reported that there was no lifesaver triangle behind the trailer. It is important to note that whereas a lifesaver triangle placed at the rear of a stalled vehicle is not a guarantee that an accident will be prevented, it highly increases the odds that the accident that will happen will be less dangerous or less hurtful. This is because it affords an oncoming driver the chance to brake before reaching the stalled vehicle in cases where the lifesaver triangle is placed at the appropriate distance from the stationary vehicle. TPR observed the dump truck registration number KCC 391G being towed. The rear of the dump truck looks like this. Can you see any lights at the rear? TPR shudders to think what would have happened if this dump truck stalled at night at the same spot. Yet, if you're a driver and happen to drive at night, you have to contend with the fact that you are likely to encounter a stalled lorry or trailer with no lights at the rear and no lifesaver sign to warn you of the hazard. TPR believes this was an accident waiting to happen, but was thankfully avoided. Just a few kilometers up the highway from this spot where the dump truck stalled is the scene where Captain Mokua, a Kenya Airways pilot, lost her life when the car she was driving rammed into a stationary lorry. This tragic accident took place in May 2024. Yet despite the knowledge that failure to use a lifesaver triangle can result in the loss of life, these kind of scenarios continue to happen, with no hint of concern from the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA, or the police. Is this to say to Kenyans that you are on your own? Note that the recommended distance to put a lifesaver triangle behind your car in case of a breakdown is 30 meters, which is about the length of 6 saloon vehicles. If the highway is comprised of two-way traffic, then place one triangle 30 meters behind and another 30 meters in front of the vehicle, as soon as you can safely do so. Post your take on this on the comments section or send your views to thepassionateroaditor@gmail.com. Together, let's work towards making our roads safer in order to reduce the number of fatalities that last year stood at 4,748, a 9.8% increase from 4,324 in 2023. Do like, share and subscribe to TPR for unparalleled coverage of road safety issues. If you found this video interesting, you may also like the tribute by TPR to Captain Mokua, which you can click to view at the top of your screen.